IndiGo now worried about an alert by the US aviation watchdog. The Director General of Civil Aviation has alerted IndiGo Airlines that its A320neo airliners could face a catastrophic situation if they continue to operate with unmodified engines. Referring to a note by the US Federal Aviation Administration, the DGCA says IndiGo must urgently modify a critical component of the engines of the neo aircraft to avoid what it calls a loss of aircraft. The DGCA in its note also refers to a November note by the US aviation watchdog, which says a delay in replacing the third stage blades could result in failure of one or more engines, loss of thrust control and loss of aircraft. The DGCA says efforts undertaken by the operator to replace all the unmodified engines on the neo fleet by the 31st do not instill enough confidence, and if the DGCA is forced to ground all IndiGo A320neo jets operating with these unmodified engines, well, this would cause large-scale disruptions in the flight schedule of the airline, which is India's largest carrier. So what does this mean? We're joined by Captain Amit Singh, aviation expert. Thank you so much for being with us. Now, to a layman, this sounds extremely dire. The kind of warnings that are being given regarding these aircrafts and that are running on these engines, please break it down for us. Just how dire is it? And to a layman, it would seem you should ground these aircrafts.
Well, this is not a new issue. It's been there for quite some time. There are two aspects to it. One is the technical issue. Other is from the safety management perspective, which ultimately ends up at the desk of the regulator, the DGCA in India. Now, when will DGCA say enough is enough? That is the biggest question. We've been hearing from August, there was a public notice issued that everything is okay. We have taken enough measures, mitigating actions. But for the public, they're not aware of what real actions have been taken on ground. Now, there is a methodology to address the whole issue. I am not sure if any risk assessment has been carried out, which is mandatory as per the safety management system. First, the operator needs to carry out the risk assessment, whether continuing with the current status of the engines, will it affect the safety of the aircraft, passengers, etc. And if they say, or if they feel that it is enough, safe enough, they have to put it across to the regulator, who is ultimately responsible for signing it off.
How many aircrafts are we talking about here? Some reports suggest there could be as many as 20.
It could be around that figure, but the issue is that new problems will keep on appearing. It is a new technology, drastic change in technology, a new concept in engine manufacturing. So as new technology is introduced, new problems are faced, new problems surface. Now, FAA has, they follow a 99-page advisory circular, which is AC 39B, which deals with a scientific evaluation of how to deal with the situation. Whereas I am uncertain, because I haven't seen a single risk assessment in India as far as the operator or the regulator is concerned.
And the regulator saying that it's not satisfied with what IndiGo, the rate at which or the pace at which it's going, moving and grounding some of these planes or changing the engines. And also what's worrying is there have been in October, according to reports, there were around 4 incidents of air turnback or in-flight shutdowns. And this, of course, is not confidence inspiring at all.
That's what the risk is basically a product of the severity and the frequency. Now, FAA is concerned that they have termed it as an unsafe situation based on a single or multiple incidents. Whereas in India, we've been facing multiple incidents in a day and more than that in a month. The last advisory airworthiness directive issued by FAA was in June, to be implemented by August, based on 13 incidents since last October, whereas in India we have seen more than that, at least 5-fold. So the safety management system needs to understand how to deal with the situation when the regulator says that okay, we won't allow it beyond this date. Then there has to be a logic behind that. They cannot, ad hocism cannot prevail. So it is basically an ad hoc approach to safety, which is not the correct thing, not the safest way.
And in fact, it
no
almost seems like the
disclosed.
DGCA, came out with this after the FAA, it gave its warning, or it spoke about this issue on the 22nd of November, and it's after that that the DGCA has come out with this statement to IndiGo.
Correct. So I have spoken with the officials in the regulator, the EASA, FAA, and also from the safety part in the engine manufacturer. So their perspective is that EASA or FAA says that unless the operator says it is unsafe and reports to their own regulator, who in turn feels it is unsafe and they report it to us, we cannot take it so seriously unless we have all the data. But if DGCA India reports to EASA or FAA that we have an unsafe situation, then they are bound to take it up seriously and take action worldwide over the engine issues, because they are concerned with engine failures around the globe. And this seems to be a localized issue in India, where in, I don't know, some people say it is because of the weather or the pollution, the sulfur content. It could be anything. But if it is localized to India, then the regulator has to take it up with the regulatory agencies like EASA, which are the model agencies, and those who are certified, because we do not have the capability of certifying an engine. We accept the engine based on the certification given by the date of manufacturer or design, which is FAA, EASA. So we have to inform them that we are facing such issues. Have we informed? I'm not sure. If we have informed, they are bound to take action.
Now again, the question of grounding these aircrafts that have this risk, and we're told that it will cause large scale disruptions in the in the flights, but you've got to weigh that against the warning that has also been given about how serious this is, that some A320neo jets face catastrophic situation. That sounds extremely dire again, and weighing that against disruptions, for a passenger, the safety seems to be what we would imagine would be the priority.
Right, I agree with you. The word catastrophe is the most serious level, the highest level in the safety matrix. We have a matrix wherein the severity and the frequency is measured, and we have a risk number based on which the regulator decides whether to continue with mitigation or stop. So if it is catastrophic, it is the highest level. Even if the frequency is less, they are bound to take action and stop operation in this case, which is recommended. But commercial pressures are always there. That is a worldwide fact. Even if the operator has to ground, it is in the larger interest of safety of the traveling public and the confidence. We have seen it in the Boeing issue. If you lose trust, then it is very difficult to regain. Boeing is still struggling to get the aircraft back. But if in this particular issue, it is better to ground and gain the trust of the traveling public rather than keeping them in the dark and risking their lives.
Absolutely, I absolutely agree with you. And what sort of besides catastrophic, these incidents that you could tell us, is this caused by this engine? The fact that you had these incidents of turn back and in-flight shutdowns in October itself, there were 4 such incidents. And is this something that was caused by these engines? Well,
that is a technical analysis which has to be done by the regulator along with the OEM, which is the manufacturer. But we have been seeing continuing issues. Basically, it is a new technology wherein the number of moving parts have been reduced. It is a great thing for fuel saving and economy, but if you reduce the number of parts, you have to produce the same amount of thrust. So a smaller engine core has to produce the same amount of thrust. So it puts the pressure on that. Unless your metallurgy and other things are perfect, there are bound to be issues.
All right. Well, really, we would imagine our aviation watchdog would, prioritize safety over any sort of disruptions that may be caused to the system. Thank you so much, Captain Amit Singh, for joining us on this very important discussion. This is a story we'll continue to pursue here at NDTV.